Hey guys, and welcome to Boomerang Month. This week, we are going to do a few shows. And today I'm going to be discussing the history of Jonny Quest. Jonny Quest is my favorite shows of all time from Boomerang, so I had to share with you the little history it had and how it impacted on me as well. Also, I'd like to also mention that I will be doing a history on the Jetsons as well. But I'm going to do this one first. Then catch up to that one later in another episode. In 1946, Hanna-Barbera made a show that was very different to many of the other ones they have made. In the past, they have made shows that would stood the test of time, being one of the first cartoons to be reflected of characters' story setting and including animation, where the characters would move their mouths and other things. Hanna-Barbera would use these effects to flip their body, and that were already drawn. And that show would be Jonny Quest. A show about a boy named Jonny Quest who goes on adventures with his friend from India, Hodge, his scientist dad, and Bandit, his dog, and Race, a bodyguard to Jonny. Due to the new animation direction Hanna-Barbera decided to put it on, they needed a new animator. Comic book illustrator Doug Wildey. With his drawings and comic books, he was the perfect animator. However, Doug had a very different style of comic book art that on the one has done before. It was just the style Hanna-Barbera needed for their new show. Doug joined with another comic book illustrator, Alex Toth, a friend that worked on the style of Jonny Quest together. Doug and Alex worked on the scenes and characters, and for their previous comic books. When they done, they sent it to Hanna-Barbera, and Hanna-Barbera were started on the show with the animators they needed. They thought the animation was perfect for them. Jonny Quest wasn't the first name that Hanna-Barbera thought they could do. They thought of Jack All-Starring. The All-American Boy was Doug drawn the footage for it, but came out at first a draft. It is unclear, but what we get is the footage in the beginning of Jonny Quest, which is the theme song. Doug had to create a new version of the All-American Boy he thought of before. So he thought of a new name for Jonny Quest. Chip Ballou. That's right. Doug thought of a name of the show was going to be Chip Ballou. Then the names have followed. Other ones like Quest File 0927. And then another one, The Adventures of Jonny Quest. And then they eventually decided to go with just Jonny Quest. Doug, and he felt like it was most adventurous name. Doug said that there are a lot of interest for the character Jonny Quest. There were a lot of inspiration for the character Jonny Quest, including Jack from his previous comic books, Cooper, the actor, was just like Jonny Quest, rough and tough, and in his personality, and is common as a eager. Or George Follett, who also was based on Jonny Quest as well. For race, he was also based off of George Riff. And Jonny Quest was based off of Williamson. And many more. Jack Cooper as well. The self-shared race and eager Jonny dynamic was inspired by Terry and from the Pirates. It was a comic book. It was based off on all of that. One of the most framed comic books of its time. Terry and the Pirates was in strength brought by Jonny Quest setting and style to. Later, Doug made sure the show had the best animation of it. From that comic book came the inspiration for everything. Characters and adventure. Jonny Quest was voiced by Tim Mason, and Doug was impressed with his acting. It was perfect for his role. Tim worked on projects such as animated Animal House and West Wing and Cold Case. Hanna-Barbera wanted Jonny to have an unusual pet. Unlike Bandit, they wanted animals such as a white cheetah and a monkey, so they could do high actions in the show. But Doug thought a dog would be better. He thought that Jonny would have a better common with Bandit, like Lassie. However, he was sure he hesitated. It was a right move because he felt like Bandit was out of place. His character was too much like Huckleberry Hound as opposed to what was in the show. When Doug thought about cartoons, he would think of stuff like Looney Tunes, and Jonny Quest, to him, was a series of a different tone. He didn't really see it as a cartoon, but for the case of Bandit, he was a dog trapped in a world of action. A man named Dick Brangic, I'm sorry, I can't say his name, designed Bandit, making the only character Doug did not draw in the Jonny Quest cast. Dick worked on the Flintstones, so Bandit might look similar to Dino. But despite all that, Bandit became the loyal dog to Jonny Quest for the show. With Bandit in the show, it came comic relief into the show. Hanna-Barbera had to work on Jonny Quest so much that it didn't have time to see family or friends, take a break, and only that they had to work on the Flintstones alongside it. And as it kept going, the animation was getting horrible. Some animations got very tight, like the tight screens and the tight, funny faces and the edge as well. Characters were making weird faces, just to name a few. And sometimes tweaked screens animators did know how to draw in Jonny Quest.